everybody, to another episode of Jets Afterburners. Here we go. We got the amazing, the best of them all, comedian himself, Lee Valentin, a.k.a. Hoodie Johnson. Lee, welcome to the show, man.
Dan, thank you so much for having me, man. I'm laughing because I love the disclaimer. I love the entire intro, but the disclaimer at the end is hella funny. Also, too, I noticed there's a few comedians on there that are way more famous than I am, man. I didn't make the cut. No, but that's dope, man. I love the intro, man. Very cool.
We're working on the second one. You're definitely going to be in there. I needed your permission, even though I really didn't ask the other ones for any permission.
You know what's funny is that I've been like one of my biggest dreams, right? And this goes for everybody, any Jets fan. A big dream is to just be on the sidelines, right? So like Method Man was at, we saw last year that he was on Hard Knocks and he got a chance to hang out with them. And, Wu-Tang has been on the sidelines, and so many, during the games, they have these celebrities on the sidelines. But that's one of my goals, or I shouldn't say one of my goals because I can't make it happen, but just one of the dreams would be to be on the sidelines for that.
If you could dream it, it could always materialize. So,
sure.
Right? You always have to kind of wish it into fruition. So
for sure.
With that being said, man, what do you think about this off season, dude? Does it feel different, or is this the same thing that we have been going through for the past, 20, 40 years?
It doesn't. We get the excitement every year after the season ends. We're like, oh, we just missed it. A couple of plays here or there. We could have been in the playoffs. We're a momentum game-winning drive away from, making a run. It feels different in the sense that Joe Douglas has had another year. We know the identity of this team is the defense, so they're shoring up pieces on that side of the ball. But I gotta say, man, everything that the fans want and everything that we know that this team needs has been addressed. Right. We talked about O-line. They addressed the O-line in free agency and in the draft. Mm-hmm. So not only do we have guys for this year, but we have our left tackle, hopefully for the next 10 years. We thought we had that with Mekhi Becton, but this is, I hate to say this, if it kind of feels different because there are specific needs that were addressed that right. I don't feel like they were addressed in the past.
You're right. I mean, Joe Douglas kind of slammed it out of the park. 3/5 of the offensive line that he kind of filled in, right? He went Tyrod Smith, John Simpson, traded for Morgan Moses. Huge. Again, we needed a wall. And then came the draft time, which I'm going to go back into free agency. We're going to go back and forth, kind of like a ping pong type of game, where a lot of people wanted a playmaker, but you kind of see that Joe Douglas, his back is against the wall alongside with Saleh. They don't want the same thing to be repeated as it was last year. They don't want Rodgers on his back, grabbing his calf or whatever other body part that could be that he could be sidelined for, the rest of the season. So it seems like I actually liked the pick, man, last week. I knew that they were trying to get a playmaker, but Olu Fashanu? For show?
Olu for show.
You like the pick or what?
I love it, man. I love it. You get a top. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick if this draft wasn't so quarterback needy. He definitely would have went in the top 3, let's say. But we got him at 10. We got our guy, and from looking at episode 1 or episode 2 of Flight 24, they said that they've been looking at this guy since he was a freshman, sophomore. So they knew what they wanted. They got their guy, or else they would have, and they felt comfortable trading back, which, adding extra picks is always huge. So they got the guy that they wanted, and I don't think the draft board could have felt any better for them.
Now, how crazy of an offense do you see Aaron Rodgers having? Now, again, the reason why he left Green Bay is because they weren't giving him the weapons, the firepower, the arsenal that he wanted, right?
Yeah,
the only thing that he had there was Devontae Adams. That's it, right?
Look, he had Scandling. He had, a couple of other guys that, may have had bigger names had he spent more time with them, So, and last year, if he doesn't look, who knows? Something can happen this year. a player can go down. Corey Davis, we didn't know he was gonna take a leave last year and retire. So anything can happen. But I think with having Aaron Rodgers back there, we say that the offensive line wasn't great or the receivers weren't great, but he's made names for guys who were nameless before.
Right.
So I think if you just have him in the game, healthy Aaron Rodgers, who cares who else is on the outside for him? It's better to have great receivers, but I think he can make anybody good.
Corey Davis comes around tomorrow, knocks on the door.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we've been asking for depth, right?
Yep.
Williams might not be back for the first couple of weeks. That leaves you with Lazard, who didn't really have a great season last year. Now you have Wilson, Lazard, Gibson, Brownlee. You bring Malachi Corley in. Who knows what he's going to be?
Right.
And again, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, these guys can all have breakout seasons, right? Who knows? But yes, you need depth. And if anything, he brings veteran leadership. He can, help Coach Brownlee up, help Coach Gibson up. These guys, they're going to work hard. So yes, you have as many talented guys in the building as you can. Absolutely.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'm going to put you on the spot with a certain position player that I'm expecting a lot. But as you know, you're a vet, dude. You are an OG. The names that I'm going to throw out there right now, leading up to the guy that we have right now at that position. I'm talking about Emerson Boozer, Freeman McNeil, Johnny Johnson, Adrian Morrell, Curtis Martin, Lamont Jordan, Thomas Jones, Sean Green, Chris Ivory. This guy right here, Breece Hall, with the line that we have, with what we have going on right now, what has been built in front of him. He has never seen an offensive line in the NFL blocking for him like this. Give me the stats for 2024 for Breece Hall.
Definitely has over 1,000 yards rushing this year because he almost made it last year. And, we had a terrible offensive line. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be facing 8 guys in the box. I think he breaks at least, 3 long touchdowns. So I'm going to go with 8, 9 touchdowns, maybe 1,300 yards, 8 or 9 touchdowns. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but, you got Aaron Rodgers back there, right? He's going to hand the ball off, but also this is a passing league. He has more weapons on the outside. Garrett Wilson's going to have 1,000-yard season. So there's going to be so many ways for this team to score. And hopefully Breece is not going to be in games because we'll be blowing out teams early. So he's not going to be in those late games. But when it gets tough, he'll probably get a lot of touches. But also, too, we have 4 guys back there who they're going to be running in and out. You got Braylon now. You got Abanaconda. You got who's the other guy that they drafted? Davis.
Oh, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen. Isaiah Davis.
Allen, yeah. Isaiah Davis, yeah. And you got Abanaconda. So there's going to be a whole lot of guys that are going to get touches, maybe. But Breece can catch the ball out of the backfield too, and break away like he did against the Giants last year, right? He caught a little screen pass, and 50 yards later, he's in the house. You know what I'm saying? He's touching the color. But yeah, he's gonna have a great season. But I think he's gonna get his touches. But 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Yo, isn't it crazy? Braylon Allen, who was born in 2003, 2004.
He's 20 years old, man.
Oh my God, dude. Well, I was graduating college. He was nadando in his dad's huevos, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Isn't that some crazy stuff? I'm like,
I have kids older than him. That's insane. That is insane, man.
How wild is that, man? And for those that don't know Spanish, just press the set button and the bottom right, and you'll be good to go. All I'm saying is, man, at what point will we have, as Jet fans, our Tampa Bay Buccaneer moment of them hoisting the Super Bowl? They're the St. Louis Rams. who I've grown up and you've grown up, you watch these teams and you're like, wow, they are perpetually in the doghouse forever. Even the Bengals, man, the Bungles. We have like spurts. Like, all right, 98, 86, 98, 2009, 2010. But with that being said, this is the window. There is no other opportunity right now. And I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and he's like, look, if the Jets don't win this season, then they're never going to win it. I am like, pump the brakes here. I understand that narrative, but let's rewind this. When the Seattle Seahawks had Matt Hasselbeck and a powerhouse of a running back and Sean Alexander with that offensive line, when they went to the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was their shot, right? That was it. All the Seahawk fans are like, if we don't, and they didn't win, they said, you know what, all hope is lost. 6 years later, they drafted a guy by the name of Russell Wilson. Anything could happen. I hope we win, but let's not forget we might have something really special out of this draft in Jordan Travis.
That's right. Yeah, and you can see that they have these teams that come out of nowhere, right? They get a spark, but they develop a formula. Right, so they kind of had the Sean Alexander, Matt Hasselbeck, they get Russell Wilson, and then they have Marshawn Lynch. So they have a formula, right? Once you have the line solidified, you have your identity, which is defense. Now you start putting in pieces. Now you're more comfortable putting in the pieces that you think you need to get you over that hump, and that's where I think the Jets are at. So maybe Aaron Rodgers plays 2 more years, but they got Fashanu, who's going to be great. Carter Warren, who knows where he's going to be. They got AVT, they got Tippmann. So the wall is there. You know that the defense is going to be there. So down the line, if it's not Jordan Travis, maybe they get lucky and they draft another quarterback. But at least they have something for the future, and you know what the identity of the team is, right? You talked about 2009, 2010. Yep. You plug in Mark Sanchez, you think he's going to be great, but he just has to be good enough, right? And not make critical mistakes. And that's kind of what we were looking for from Zach Wilson. But I think Jordan Travis, I don't watch college ball, unfortunately, but everybody that I've talked to and everything that I've read said this guy was on a path to be a Heisman candidate. So if he can sit for 2 or 3 years, which we haven't had that luxury, right? We drafted Darnold, he had to come in and play right away. We drafted Zach, he had to come in and play right away. Jordan Travis doesn't have to do that. He can sit and learn, and learn from even Tyrod Taylor, who's a great quarterback in his own right, and is capable of stepping in and being a competent starter. In 2 or 3 years, who knows what he can be, or maybe 4 years. So I think the Jets are doing all the right things, and we've been saying this for a long time, man. Like in the past, I trust Joe Douglas, and I know some people are going to hate it, but I trust Joe Douglas because you can see that they know what they're doing. They're a competent football organization right now.
And that's what segues to my next point. This year, a lot of people were calling him a lame duck GM. After what he pulled off this offseason, I don't think so. I think the guy that is on the hot seat, because there is no more excuses whatsoever, it's Robert Saleh. He could run up and down the stairs, whatever he liked before the games, but he has to learn how to run an actual team. Because at this point, that's it. You have your Hall of Fame quarterback, and I don't want to hear about injury. That's it. God forbid something happens to Aaron Rodgers. Figure it out. That's
it. At least they got Tyrod Taylor now, right? He can step in and still win games. So, and the defense has to be the defense. So there are no excuses. And I love Robert Saleh. I love the fact that even though they haven't had winning seasons in the last couple of years, the guys don't give up on him, right? The team still plays hard. They're in every game, except for last year against Miami, but they're in most games with competent quarterback play. They can win games. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think Joe Douglas stays because he's proven that he can, except for the first year, when he drafted that team for Adam Gase. And I know that Adam Gase, he didn't have, or Joe Douglas didn't have his guys in place just yet. Right. Maybe scouting and coaching and stuff like that. But that was a terrible draft that year. But since then, he's made the right picks, and even in free agency, he's had some blunders, but what GM hasn't? But yeah, I think Joe Douglas stays. and unfortunately, here's the problem I have with that though, is that you have Robert Saleh's defensive identity, right? Now you bring in another coach, you bring in an offensive minded coach. Yeah, the offense gets better, but we don't have that same defensive identity. Then what do you do?
Right, right. Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's where I'm saying that there is no excuses as well. Like this defense right now, they have to step it up, and I know they're top 5, and you're like, all right, how much more can they step up? Probably another 3 more slots. I want to see interceptions. I want to see turnovers. I want to see turnovers for touchdowns, like kind of that Ravens of 2000, 86 Bears, something like that, where you don't expect those kind of defenses. Right? Like, tell me the truth. Like in 2000, when Tony Banks was the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, no one ever thought that the Ravens were going to come out to be Super Bowl champions.
No way.
Definitely not.
No.
Same thing with the Bears in 85, I'm sorry. Everybody thinks of Walter Payton.
Right.
But dang, dude, it was all about the defense. They stepped it up. They're like, you know what? We have to sustain the game through us. Everything goes through the defense. I think the Jets, especially with the Hassan Reddick deal, to me, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. It's an upgrade over Bryce Huff. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I agree. And same thing with JFM, right? These guys were good in their roles, right?
Right.
But you can't pay these guys, $8 million a year to be part-time players.
Mm-hmm.
And when the comparison I make is the Patriots, and I hate to make this comparison, but the Patriots were always releasing guys right before they got terrible, right? They were still coming off their high. So, I think Joe did the right thing. You can't pay Bryce Huff. And maybe he had this deal in his back pocket he knew he was going to make. He had some friends over in Philly. But he made the right move. I think. I don't think you can pay JFM $8 million a year to be a part-time player when you drafted a guy like McDonald, or you have a guy like Clemens who can fill the same role, who can play multiple positions same way as JFM did. So I think it was the right move, man.
I'm pretty high on Will McDonald. I have to be honest. I know a lot of people are looking at him like an Aaron Maben or like kind of a reach last year. I understand we wanted to get Broderick Jones. I think that's who we wanted to get, but then the Steelers traded with, of course. That was one of the last dig jobs that he had to do before he left. But fine, you know what? Who knows? With McDonald's, I see a lot of kind of Javon Curse in him. I'm not comparing him to him, just seeing how bendy he is. So he's had some disruptive plays last year in spurts because, again, he was just it's that defense where it's always revolving, right? That defensive line's always getting fresh. I feel like, believe it or not, would you think this would be a successful year? 6-7 sacks for Will McDonald?
I think that's a lot. Anything he gives us, because again, he's going to be sharing time. He's going to be splitting time with Reddick. So anything that he gives us is going to be fantastic, right? And he's better in the run. Probably he made some run stopping plays last year. He had some tackles for loss last year. And I think he can be as good as maybe Bryce Huff was last year in that role. Yeah, I agree. He's a hell of a player. He's a physical specimen. He can get to the quarterback. He's bendy, like you said. I think he can do it. I mean, 6 or 7 sacks is a lot, but yeah, I think he's capable of that in that same part-time role.
Now I want to throw something up.
You get these guys who are that skilled and who are fast, and the Jets line is 8 men deep. Pause. There's 8 guys who can start.
Long pause.
Anywhere in the league, they have 8 guys who are disruptors, and there's going to be those games where they got these guys in 3rd and long, and they're just like, "Yo, Will, go out there and just go get the quarterback," and he's going to be able to do that.
I look at that as well. Same way. I think he's going to bring a great dimension to the defense alongside with Hassan Reddick. Now, I want to throw something else to this equation, something that occurred on the last podcast that we had with Craig Carton, that he said something very interesting, a huge-ass nugget here. He stated, there is a very, very good chance that we are looking at the end of the New York Jets playing in New Jersey. End quote. Now,
Wow.
there's a lot of people in spaces, a lot of people just in general, fans that are saying, no way. There's no way that you can do that. One in particular said they just built a $75 million practice facility. There's no way that they're just going to throw it away like that. But Craig brings up a really solid point, which I would like to ask Hoodie Johnson if possible. He said that the Mets, right next door to Citi Field, they're building a soccer stadium, NYFC, which is privately funded by Abu Dhabi. Dude, they got some money. They got, I'm telling you, bags. They don't care. That $75 million practice facility for them, it's like us going to a bank, getting a mortgage for $800. That's what it is for them. Just to put things in perspective. Lee, I don't know if you follow soccer, but there's this forward from France. His name is Kylian Mbappe. Beast of a player. Last year, Saudi Arabia, a soccer club. Guess what? How much they offered him to play 1 year in their league? Guess.
How much?
$1 billion. $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
One dude.
One dude. Just to watch him play. So you're telling me?
Did he take it?
I believe he did. Well, if he didn't, then he's a complete. He should play for the Jets then.
I'll tell you this, man. If you see Hoodie Johnson with a new chain, yeah, we taking that. We taking that Saudi money.
That's all I'm saying. I'm telling you, it's not like you're selling the team to Saudi Arabia. You're not. It's just a partnership. They just want like some sort of liaison here where, okay, you know what? You take care of this. We'll go, I don't know, 1/3 of it. The other one is Steve Cohen. Because again, there's a lot of legalities through this whole thing, even to like pitch something over there by Citi Field. You're taking land there. You're taking people's money away. Now, do you see
which nobody cares about, by the way?
No one cares, man. And again, dude, you probably learned you knew about this narrative for the longest. Whenever you say the Jets have to play back where they belong in Queens, you would hear there's no room. There's no room. It's such BS for
don't make room
for that amount, dude. These guys know what business is all about across the seas, and this morning I was in one of these spaces, and they're like, no, it has to go through the 31 NFL teams in order for it to be approved. Those dudes ready to give someone, just one person, $1 billion. $1
billion, yeah.
You think that it's going to be that difficult?
They're going to line some pockets. They're going to, kiss some hands and shake some babies. There's going to be a lot of things that they'll be able to do. You give these guys some money. Look, here's the problem I have. Is the new Jets logo going to have Etihad in the little, that little jet across the top of the Jets logo? There's going to be a little Etihad in there. Exactly, right there. On the helmets, there's going to be Etihad. There's going to be a whole bunch of shit, man. So, for sure they can make it happen. They'll figure it out. They'll start fixing. Once you start seeing cranes and roads being fixed, that where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell my wife we got to move back to New York because I'm going to keep my tickets, man. I'm going to keep my tickets. And I'll just have to move back to New York and just be closer to the stadium. Because right now I'm 15 minutes away from the stadium, man. So, yeah.
But it still takes you 3 hours to get there.
It takes me 3 hours to get home. Getting there is not a problem. Getting home is always the issue. But you know what? I've learned something is when the Jets give up a punt return at the end of for a touchdown at the end of the half, if you leave the game right then and there, you can get home in 15 minutes. So I think it's
they're going to hope for that.
I'm sad to admit that I left that game early last year. That was the one game that I left early last year.
The one that I left early ever was the day before I think Sandy hit. I think that one. I think it was Sandy or the one before. What was the one before? Irma or something like that. I forgot what it was.
Only one I remember is Sandy because that took us out for a minute. Yeah, we had no power and stuff like that. So that's
Oh,
I remember. I
we were
can't
playing
remember all
against
these.
Miami. We were playing against Miami and Matt
It's
Moore,
always Miami.
quarterback. So it's
It's always
Miami.
Miami.
It's fucking Miami. Well, when you look at the AFC East now, do you see that we have a shot? We have a shot at
Yes,
being AFC East champions.
yes. The Buffalo had their window. They're in shambles now. They lost a lot of guys out of free agency. They let Stephon Diggs go, even though they got Keon Coleman. Who knows where he's going to be?
Mhm.
Yeah, they they're still the division leaders, but they've been atop the division for a while. But yeah, you can see them falling apart a little bit. This is our chance. I mean, Miami just signed OBJ. Who knows what's going to happen over there? Who knows if any of those guys stay healthy? They had
Right.
a good year last year, but yeah, I don't see the Jets losing twice to either of those teams, to any of those teams actually.
Oh, we got to sweep the Pats, man. This is it, dude. We have to like annihilate them.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't have any more 15-10 games against them in the rain. That's just going to make me. I almost left that game early too. But yeah, we can't have any more games like, and I doubt that we will. Again, even if we had to go to Tyrod Taylor, there's enough firepower there where we shouldn't be losing games 15-10.
I'm looking at Garrett Wilson this year, and I'm trying to see that, you know what, there is an enormous possibility that he's going to shatter Brandon Marshall's 2015 franchise record. Like,
Yeah.
kill it. He got two years, 1,000 yards, and each year with just orange
Mediocre
cones at
quarterback play.
quarterbacks. Nothing.
Yeah, mediocre quarterback play. And he had some tough drops last year and a couple of bad fumbles, but you know, people were keying on him. You got some guys playing man, and then they got safety help,
Mhm.
and then he's open sometimes, and guys are Zach might have missed him or whatever. But this year, those things can't happen, and that's why you have to get depth. Uh, at the wide receiver position, guys who can catch the ball and who can make plays like Williams and maybe Corey Davis comes back. But you have to have that so it frees up Wilson. You could put Wilson in the slot and he can make plays. He's going to eat up yards. He can get yards after catch, and he gets open. So we got
Right.
to see what he can do with a fully healthy team, and I think he's going to be fantastic, man. I think he's going to be exceptional. Breaking Brandon Marshall's record, I don't know, man. We had a run on wide receivers, like we had Santonio Holmes, Braylon Edwards,
Lavernius Coles,
Eric Lavernius Cole, Santana Moss, Eric Decker,
Keyshawn.
Keyshawn. Like we've had some
Mhm.
guys, man, and they've had phenomenal years. But I think like those years where Santonio Holmes, Braylon, Plaxico, um, Eric
Jericho
Decker,
Cotchery. Yeah.
yeah, all of these guys, man, but just some really, really good receivers, man. So I think, I mean, even going back to Altoon and Wesley Walker, those were great, great receivers. But I think this year it can be really special, man. And I'm just praying that Aaron stays healthy, man, because who knows what can happen if and I hope he will. But if he stays healthy, who knows what can happen, man? It's going to be a fantastic season.
I think so as well. And we're going to wrap it up because I know you got stuff to do here, especially, dude, the Knicks are playing and the rivalry is back. They're playing the Pacers. Sorry, Jet Nation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Knicks here because it's been a very long time. And when I see the Knicks now with Brunson and again with Hart and all these greats that come back into MSG, I think of the 1990 New York Knicks. It's that grit. It's that passion. It's that old school elbow throwing NBA where it's not allowed anymore, but it seems like it's allowed at MSG because you don't change rules at the NECA. You don't do that. What do you see the Knicks in this, again, crazy matchup? This is it. This is not new territory. This is against Indiana.
Yeah, I think the Indiana teams of the Pacers teams of the past were way tougher, way grittier, more similar. And it's a copycat league, so they tried to build their team similar to us. They had stars. Uh, I guess Reggie Miller was a superstar, but they had some really, really good ball players. And I mean, that I can't really say that I would compare the early '90s Pacers teams to this Pacers team. They're
Mhm.
good, but Tyrese Halliburton has such a punchable face, man.
Oh my God.
He's so annoying. I
We should
don't
have
like the way
drafted
he
him.
dresses.
We should have drafted him.
Yeah, but you know what? If that was the case, look, I mean, the Kings had him, they got rid of him. It was
Right.
kind of stupid for them in hindsight, but
Yep.
I think if we get him, it doesn't lead us to Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
So that's the only good thing I can say about it. Of course, you hate these guys when they're not on your team. When they're on
Mhm.
your team, you love them. But I think the Knicks. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I hate doing this, but I'm just going to say Knicks in 4 because I'm just that confident that. Oh, yeah, I don't even give the Pacers a chance to win in Indianapolis. And I'm sorry to my cousins who grew up in Indy,
Right.
who are Pacers fans and who are
Sure.
paying $50 for great tickets in the
Mhm.
playoff games.
Right.
And I love my cousins, but it's just going to be the Knicks in 4, man.
Absolutely. No, you know what? It's good in Knicks in 4. So again, everyone who's rooting for the Pacers, they can go and watch their Indianapolis 500 early bird
Right.
seats.
Enjoy the summer, Pacers fans. But no, you know what I love about the Knicks, man, is that you can see the moves that they were making. They got great front office people who are now proven to be great. They made all the right hires. They hired the
Right.
right coach. They have an identity, and I guess you could say we were kind of patient, but we kind of saw this coming. Like they were going to make a move that was going to take them to the next level, and they've been gradual in their approach. Which I see the same thing with the Jets, man. And people say, "Oh, as long as Woody Johnson is leading is the owner of the team, they can't win." And I disagree. I think just they have to win games, and just like nobody's mentioning Dolan anymore. If you win,
Right.
none of that matters.
Great point.
So
Holy
I think you
smokes.
just have to win. But if you love the team, you can objectively see the things that they're doing properly, right? They
Right.
hired, they have an identity. You know that they know what they're looking for by draft. They've drafted great players, right? They have players in the building who love being Jets, who want to be Jets.
Mhm.
Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
These guys are championing and all the great things that a legend like Aaron Rodgers is saying about the guys on the team and in the front office. So you can see those gradual changes, and I love the similarities that are happening between the Jets and the Knicks. And it's just a good time to be a fan, even though the results aren't there for the Jets. They're coming. So Jets fans, stick in there, man. Hang in there.
You bring up a great point because again, a lot of us, including me, I'm not a big Salah fan, but we could win in spite of him. A lot of people are like, oh,
Of
but what if
course.
we reach the AFC Championship game and it's Salah against Andy Reid? It's done in between the lines there. That's the whole
Right.
beauty of having Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's your head coach on offense. On
Right.
defense, it's 2 coaches. It's Salah and Ulbrich.
And Ulbrich, yeah.
And we win a Super Bowl. Again, I'm going to bring it back. The Ravens won a Super Bowl with Brian Billick.
Yeah.
What did Billick do after?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And then Harbaugh stepped, but Harbaugh stepped in, and it's just like, who was the coach that won that year? You might even say it was Harbaugh. But the organization has the identity. The Ravens are going to play great
Yep.
defense. Same thing with the Steelers. The Steelers are a winning organization. You know that they're going to get guys. They always draft later they always have picks later in the draft. They're going to draft guys who fit their system.
Right.
Who are good ball players,
Yep.
who are going to be around for a long time. And that's kind of what we're seeing now, man.
Peyton Manning's last year when he won the Super Bowl, who was the head coach?
Holy shit.
Done deal.
Exactly. I don't even know.
Gary Kubiak.
Yeah, exactly. And what did he do for the Texans, and what did he do after that?
He didn't do nothing. This is no game changer Hall of Fame head coach. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback who is all in. This isn't like Brett Favre in 2008 where he really didn't want to be here. This is a dude right now. This is everything. Everything surrounds himself with, showcasing to the world, you know what? I'm 4 months ahead of schedule with this Achilles injury. Dude, if we were in the playoff hunt, he would have definitely.
He would have been right there.
He would have been right there. Honestly, I'm looking at this, and I'm going to say it just like Carton said yesterday, but even before then, The Jets are Super Bowl contenders, and I expect them to be in the AFC Championship game at MetLife.
All right. Yeah, that would be phenomenal, man. That would be phenomenal. And I'm going to be there in full Hoodie Johnson garb, trying to get on the sidelines after they win.
I love it. I love it.
After they make it to the Super Bowl, man. I can't wait. I can't wait, man.
Lee, man, thank you so much for just hopping on, chopping it up with me. Is there any way you just tell our viewers where they could find you, where you're doing your stand-up?
Well, first they could find me on the Jets Afterburners podcast, man. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like button, man. Dan, I'm glad to see you back in the saddle, man. I'm glad you're doing this again. I appreciate you guys always, man. And just follow me on Twitter at Lee Valentin or X, whatever it is, man. And that's where I do my Hoodie Johnson stuff because I love the Jets and Jets fans. I love you guys, man. You guys are what makes it possible and makes fucking Hoodie Johnson so much fun, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you.
Awesome, man. Lee, let's go. Nixon 4.
Let's go, baby. Dan, thank you, brother. I'll speak to you, man.
Of course. The best.